All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of conversation.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be good.
It's funny how much we rely on communication every single day.
Right.
And yet most of us never really stop to think about how we could do it better.
It's like we just assume we know how to talk to each other.
Yeah, but think about it. How many times have you walked away from a conversation thinking, I wish I had said that differently?
Or I wish I hadn't said that at all.
Totally. And that's where Leil Lowndes comes in, and honestly, her book, How to Talk to Anyone, is like a treasure trove of communication gold.
It really is a classic, and luckily for us, we've got this awesome YouTube video summary to help us break down all the juicy bits.
Yeah, this video is fantastic. It really gets to the heart of what makes Lowndes' work so powerful.
So what's the mission for today's deep dive?
Our goal is to uncover the secrets to making a killer impression, connecting authentically, and navigating any social situation with confidence.
Sounds good to me.
All right, let's jump right in. First up, we're tackling the often underestimated power of nonverbal communication.
Yeah, this is huge.
The video starts with this really cool example of a cartoonist who secretly sketches people at a party.
Oh, I love that.
He captures their expressions, postures, and all those tiny gestures without them knowing.
And then what happens?
Well, when he shows the people their portraits, they're often completely shocked.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, wait, is that really me? I don't look like that.
Oh, wow. I can see why they'd be surprised.
It really highlights that disconnect between how we see ourselves and how the world perceives us.
We all have a sort of internal image of ourselves.
Right, but then there's the reality of how we actually come across to others.
And that's where those nonverbal cues come into play.
They speak volumes, even when we're not saying a word.
So if you're not mindful of your body language, you could be sending the wrong message entirely.
Exactly. And that's why Lowndes kicks things off with her first technique, which she calls the delayed smile.
The delayed smile? I've never heard of that.
It's so clever.
Yeah.
Instead of flashing that instant, almost reflexive grin when you meet someone, Lowndes suggests letting your smile gradually spread across your face.
Interesting. So it's not about not smiling, it's about the timing.
Exactly. It builds a sense of anticipation, like you're genuinely delighted to see the person.
Oh, I get it. It's like you're savoring the moment of connection.
Right. It makes you seem more warm and approachable.
And probably less creepy than just staring intensely at someone.
Well, speaking of intense staring, Lowndes' next technique is all about eye contact.
Okay, I'm listening.
She calls it sticky eye contact, and for good reason.
So is this like those staring contests we used to have as kids?
Not quite. It's more about holding someone's gaze a beat longer than usual.
To show you're really paying attention.
Yes, but it's also about conveying genuine interest and making them feel like they're the only person in the room.
So it's not creepy staring, it's more like a warm, engaging connection.
Exactly. And get this, studies have actually shown that strong eye contact triggers the release of oxytocin.
Oxytocin, isn't that the cuddle hormone?
It is. It's also known as the bonding hormone because it promotes trust and connection.
Wow. So just by making eye contact, you're literally creating a chemical bond with someone.
It's amazing how our biology is tied to these seemingly small actions.
Okay, so we've covered smiling and eye contact. What about our overall posture?
That's next on the list. Lowndes has a fun little technique for projecting confidence without feeling stiff.
Okay, tell me.
Imagine there's a bite pad attached to the top of a doorway. As you walk through, gently hold that imaginary bite pad with your teeth.
Okay, I'm visualizing it.
I know it sounds a little strange, but it actually works.
How so?
Well, it forces you to straighten your spine, lift your chin, and open up your chest.
Oh, I see. It's like a subtle way to improve your posture without feeling awkward.
Exactly. And when you stand tall and confident, it changes the way people perceive you.
So it's not just about feeling good, it's about looking good too.
Exactly. Now, we've laid the groundwork for projecting confidence through nonverbal communication.
Okay, so we've got the basics down.
But how do we take it to the next level?
How do we really connect with people on a deeper level?
That's where things get even more interesting. Lowndes has some brilliant insights for forging genuine connections, and we're going to explore those right after the break.
Ooh, I can't wait.
All right, so we've got that nonverbal foundation down, Pat, but now how do we actually start building those deeper connections?
Okay, so this is where things get even more fascinating. Lowndes has this technique called tap into the inner child. And honestly, it might surprise you.
Okay, tap into the inner child. I'm intrigued. How does that even work?
Well, think about it this way. You ever notice how people just light up around children?
Oh, absolutely. Kids just have that contagious energy.
Exactly. It's like they remind us of that pure joy and wonder we all had as kids.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess somewhere deep down, we all still crave that feeling.
We do, and that's the key. By tapping into our own inner child, that playful, carefree part of ourselves, we actually disarm people's defenses and create a space for genuine connection.
So it's not about literally acting like a child. It's about bringing that authentic energy to the interaction.
Precisely. And it works wonders. Now, another one of Lowndes' techniques for building rapport is what she calls the old friend mindset.
The old friend mindset. Okay, I like the sound of that.
It's simple but powerful. Imagine approaching every new interaction as if you're reconnecting with an old friend.
Oh, that's great. I can already feel my shoulders relaxing just thinking about it.
Right. It takes the pressure off of trying to be perfect or impress someone.
You're like, hey, we're already friends. Let's just enjoy this conversation.
Exactly. And this ties into something else Lowndes talks about, which is spotting deception.
Really? How so?
Well, when we're relaxed and genuinely connecting with someone, we're more attuned to those subtle signals that might indicate they're not being entirely truthful.
Oh, that's interesting. Like those little inconsistencies between someone's words and their body language.
Exactly. Like if someone says they're excited about something, but their arms are crossed and they're avoiding eye contact.
Right. It's almost like our bodies betray us, even when we're trying to keep a poker face.
It's true. And that's why Lowndes' seventh technique, projecting authenticity, is so crucial.
So it's about being aware of our own nervous habits and making sure we're coming across as genuine and trustworthy.
Yes. Because even those seemingly small things, like constantly touching your face or fidgeting, can make a big difference in how people perceive us.
Okay, so we've got to watch those little subconscious habits then.
Definitely. It's all about aligning our words and actions to create that sense of congruence.
Gotcha. Okay, so we've talked about building rapport, but what about navigating those everyday conversations?
Ah, yes. The art of small talk. Small talk often gets a bad rap, but it's really the gateway to deeper connections.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like the warm-up act before the main event.
Exactly. And the key to making small talk meaningful is to avoid those generic responses.
Oh yeah, I'm so guilty of that.
Instead, try offering some intriguing details about yourself, your city, your hobbies, anything that sparks curiosity.
So instead of just saying, I'm from London, I might say something like, I'm from London, a city steeped in history, with secret gardens tucked away on every corner.
Perfect. You've painted a picture, you've sparked interest, you've opened the door for further conversation.
I'm seeing small talk in a whole new light now. It's not just about filling the silence, it's about planting those seeds of connection.
And to really nurture those seeds, Lowndes emphasizes the importance of projecting enthusiasm.
Oh yeah, enthusiasm is contagious, right?
It is. It's about bringing that spark of energy to every interaction, making people feel like you're genuinely happy to be in their company.
Okay, so it's not just what you say, it's how you say it.
Absolutely. And speaking of making a good impression, Lowndes has a couple of clever techniques for approaching groups.
Oh, approaching groups. That's always a bit intimidating. What are her secrets?
Well, one technique is what she calls the "what is that" technique.
What is that? Okay, tell me more.
It's about wearing or carrying something unique, something that sparks conversation.
Oh, I see, like a conversation starter.
Exactly. It could be an interesting piece of jewelry, a book with an eye-catching cover, anything that invites a question.
It's like having a built-in icebreaker.
Yeah.
So it's not about being flashy. It's about having something that reflects your personality and invites people to engage with you.
Exactly. And another technique is what she calls "who is that?"
Who is that? Okay, so this is for when you want to connect with a specific person in a group.
Precisely. Instead of awkwardly trying to figure out how to approach them on your own, Lowndes suggests asking a mutual acquaintance to introduce you.
Ah, that makes so much sense. It takes the pressure off and gives you a natural entry point into the conversation.
Right. Okay, so now let's say you've broken the ice, the conversation is flowing, but you want to take it to that next level.
Okay, how do we do that? How do we deepen the connection?
Well, Lowndes has some great insights for that too. One technique is turning those everyday "how are you" exchanges into opportunities for deeper connection.
Oh, instead of the standard "I'm fine," how do we make it more meaningful?
Well, instead of giving a generic response, try offering something unique that showcases your personality or interests.
So I might say something like, I'm feeling energized after a morning hike, or I'm really excited about a new project I'm working on.
Perfect. You've given a little glimpse into your world and invited the other person to share theirs.
It's so much more engaging than just going through the motions. What other techniques can help us deepen those connections.
Lowndes also suggests introducing people with a bit more flair than just their names and titles.
Okay, so instead of, this is Sarah, she's a lawyer, I might say something like,
You might say, this is Sarah. She's a human rights lawyer who's incredibly passionate about social justice. She actually spends her weekends volunteering at a legal aid clinic.
wow, that's so much more interesting and memorable. It tells a story, it highlights her passions, it makes her instantly more relatable.
Exactly. Okay, now let's say the conversation starts to fizzle out. What are some strategies for reviving those stale moments?
Oh yeah, we've all been there. The awkward silence. What do we do?
Lowndes suggests tapping into the power of storytelling.
Storytelling. How does that work?
Share a personal anecdote or prompt others to share theirs. Stories are powerful connectors. They create a sense of shared experience, and they make us feel more connected to each other.
Oh, I love that. It's like weaving a tapestry of shared experiences.
Exactly. And another technique Lowndes suggests is called the spotlight technique.
The spotlight technique. Interesting name. What is that?
Imagine a spotlight that shifts between you and the other person as you converse.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
The goal is to maintain a balanced spotlight, making sure each person feels seen and heard.
So it's about finding that sweet spot of engagement where you're actively contributing but not dominating the conversation.
Precisely. And, if you ever find yourself struggling to come up with something to say, Lowndes has a technique for that too.
Oh, please tell me, because that happens to me all the time.
She calls it echoing for effortless flow. Basically, if you're drawing a blank, just rephrase the speaker's last point as a question.
So it's like a verbal volley, keeping the conversation going without having to come up with something entirely new. I like it.
It takes the pressure off. Now, on the other hand, if you want to share something about yourself, Lowndes suggests using the once upon a time technique.
Once upon a time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sensing a storytelling theme here.
You got it. It's about sharing an engaging anecdote that reveals something about you, your values, your experiences, anything that creates a connection through shared experience.
Stories are so powerful. It's like inviting someone into your world. Okay, what are some other techniques for cultivating that magnetic presence that draws people in?
Well, Lowndes emphasizes the importance of radiating positivity.
Oh, positivity is huge. But how do we do that, especially when we're not feeling particularly positive?
It's about making a conscious effort to express enthusiasm and optimism, even in challenging situations.
So it's a choice we make, not just a feeling we have.
Exactly. And that positive energy is contagious. And another tip Lowndes offers is to stay informed about current events and interesting trends.
So it's about having those conversation starters at the ready. Okay, last one for this section. How do we channel our inner VIP?
Well, Lowndes has this clever way of reframing those typical "what do you do" questions.
Oh yeah, I hate that question. It always feels so judgmental.
Right. Instead of asking that, try something like, how do you spend most of your time?
Oh, I like that. It's more open-ended and inviting.
It is, and it shows that you're genuinely interested in learning about the person, not just their job title.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground on building connections and having engaging conversations.
We have. But what about those trickier social situations where things can get a bit awkward or uncomfortable?
Yeah, those can be tough. How do we navigate those gracefully?
Well, Lowndes has some brilliant insights for handling those too, and we're going to explore those right after this.
All right, welcome back to our deep dive into mastering conversation. We've covered so much ground already.
We have, from projecting confidence to building rapport to having engaging conversations.
And now it's time to pull it all together and equip you with the tools to become a communication superstar.
Ready for a final boost of conversational confidence?
I am so ready.
One thing that's really stuck with me is that example of the cartoonist capturing people's hidden emotions. It's like, wow, we're constantly communicating even when we don't realize it.
It's true. Like, we have this whole secret language of nonverbal cues.
And that's why those seemingly small adjustments, the delayed smile, sticky eye contact, confident posture, can make such a big difference.
It's like there's secret weapons for making a killer first impression. I've actually been trying that bite pad technique for posture.
Oh, yeah. How's it going?
I swear, I feel like I'm walking taller already.
That's awesome. It's those subtle shifts that can really boost your confidence. And speaking of confidence, remember Lowndes' advice about tapping into your inner child?
Oh, I love that one. It's like giving yourself permission to be playful and authentic.
Exactly. And when you're relaxed and genuine, it just makes you so much more approachable. Remember the old friend mindset?
Oh, yeah. Approaching every interaction like you're reconnecting with an old pal. It's a game changer.
It really is. And another thing I've been thinking about a lot is how to make those everyday small talk moments more meaningful.
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy to fall into those generic responses.
But instead, offer something intriguing, something that sparks curiosity. Like instead of just saying, I'm from London, you might say, I'm from London, a city where you can stumble upon hidden gardens tucked away on every corner.
I love that. It's like painting a picture with your words. I'm also really intrigued by the power of visualization. It's amazing how we can actually prepare ourselves for success in social situations, just like athletes do before a big game.
It's so powerful, isn't it? It's all about harnessing the power of our minds.
All right, so we've talked about the good stuff, but what about those trickier situations where things might get a little awkward or uncomfortable?
Well, Lowndes has some great advice for handling those, too. You know what? One thing I think is so important is matching your mood to the message, especially when you're delivering sensitive news.
It's about being empathetic and respectful, even when the conversation is tough.
Exactly. And remember, if someone's asking you a question you'd rather not answer, sometimes a vague response is your best friend.
It's like a graceful way to deflect without being rude.
Exactly. And I think it's also important to remember to always treat celebrities like regular people.
Oh yeah, it's so easy to get starstruck.
Yeah.
But we've got to remember they're just human beings too.
Right. Okay, before we wrap up this deep dive, let's touch on a few more key takeaways.
Yes. One of the things that really resonated with me is the power of giving genuine compliments.
Oh, absolutely. It's about focusing on people's strengths and accomplishments, making them feel seen and appreciated.
And remember, avoid those backhanded compliments.
Yes, keep those compliments pure and sincere.
All right, so we've covered a ton of ground,
Yeah.
but I feel like there's one more thing that's so crucial for becoming a master communicator. Self-awareness.
You're so right. Self-awareness is like the foundation of it all.
It's about understanding our own strengths and weaknesses, our communication style, and how we impact others.
And it's an ongoing journey, right? The more self-aware we become, the better we can connect with the people around us.
So to everyone out there who's ready to level up their communication skills, remember, self-awareness is your secret weapon. Embrace it, nurture it, and see what amazing connections you can create.
Well said. It's all about progress, not perfection.
So go out there, experiment with these techniques, have fun, and see what transformations you experience. Until next time, happy communicating.